Once upon a time, there was a very holy man. He lived in the city, and every day he went to the mosque 5 times to pray. But the city was big, and there were many people in the streets. This place is very noisy, the holy man thought. I can't pray to God here. I must go to a quiet place, far away from the city. So the holy man went out of the city. He walked for a long time. At last, he came to a high wall. There was an orchard of fruit trees on the other side of the wall. This is a fine orchard, with many fruit trees, thought the holy man. Those guavas and bananas look delicious, and I am very hungry. A stream of water was running out of the orchard. The holy man looked at it. What's that yellow thing in the water? He thought. 0h, it's a guava. It's outside the orchard, and no one can see me. I will eat it. So the holy man took the guava out of the stream and ate it. Soon it was time to pray, and the holy man began to wash himself in the stream. But then he began to think, why did I eat that guava? He asked himself. It wasn't mine. It belonged to the owner of the orchard. I did a bad thing. I must go to the owner of the orchard, and I must tell him I am sorry. So the holy man found the gate of the orchard and he went inside. The orchard was very big, with many guava and banana trees. In the middle of the orchard there was a big house. The owner of the orchard was coming out of the house. The holy man went up to him. Excuse me, sir. I want to tell you something, he said. I found a guava in the stream outside your orchard. I was hungry and I ate it. But it was your guava. I was stealing it from you. Please forgive me. The owner of the orchard looked at him. No, he said. I can't forgive you. You did a bad thing. Now you must do something for me. What must I do? The holy man said. You must marry my daughter, said the owner of the orchard. My daughter has no eyes and she cannot walk. But if you marry her, I will forgive you. If you do not marry her, I will not forgive you. The holy man was sad. This is a big price to pay for a small mistake, he thought, but he said to the owner, Yes, I agree. I will marry your daughter. Let me see her now. No, said the owner of the orchard. First you must marry her. Then you can see her. So the holy man married the orchard owner's daughter. She was covered with a veil, and he could not see her. Now, said the orchard owner. My daughter is your wife. Take off the veil and look at her. The holy man took off his wife's veil. Oh, he said. But you are beautiful. Are you blind? No, you can see. Are you lame? No, you can walk. But your father said, My daughter has no eyes and no legs. The owner of the orchard smiled at him. You did not understand me, he said. This was my meaning. My daughter has no eyes for bad things. She never looks at them. And she cannot walk in bad places. She always follows the path of goodness. I was looking for a holy man to be her husband, and now, my dear son-in-law, I have found one. And from that day, the holy man lived with his wife and her father, and they were very happy. Part 1. A blind king once ruled the city of Harrer. He was very unhappy because he could not see. He called many doctors from different countries, but none of them could help him. One day, a fortune teller came to Harrer. The king called him to the palace. "Tell me," he said, "will I always be blind? Or will my sight come back to me? Can anyone help me?" "Yes," said the fortune teller. "One person can help you. You have a son, a good, wise prince. Send your son to the sea. There he must find the king of the seas, the great whale. He must catch the whale and bring him to you. Then your sight will come back to you and you will see." The king was very happy. He called for the prince and said, "Take 2 soldiers with you, my son, and go to the sea. Catch the whale, the king of the seas, and bring him to me. Then my sight will come back to me." The prince was brave and good. He took 2 soldiers with him and they went down to the sea. They hunted the whale for a long, long time, and at last they caught him. Now the whale was very big, and from his head to his tail he was covered with gold. He lay in the prince's net and looked at him. "Why did you catch me, prince?" he said. "I will take you to my father," said the prince. "He is blind. Only you can help him to see." "I can't help your father," said the whale. "And if you take me out of the water, I will die. Is that true?" "Can't you help my father?" asked the prince. "No," said the whale. "And if I take you out of the water, you will die." "Is that really true?" asked the prince. "Yes," said the whale. "Then I will let you go," said the prince. "Thank you, oh thank you," said the whale. "You have saved my life, and now I want to help you. One day, you will need me. Come down to the edge of the sea and call to me. Then I will help you." The prince and the soldiers left the sea, and went back to the king's palace. "Well, my son," said the king. "Did you find the whale?" "Yes, father," said the prince. "And did you catch him?" asked the king. "No, father," said the prince. "The whale is the king of the seas. He is too strong for me. I could not catch him." The king was sad. "Now I will always be blind," he said. "I will never be able to see." But the prince's 2 soldiers were greedy. "Let's go to the king and tell him the truth," they said. "Then perhaps he will give us some money." So the 2 soldiers went to the king. "Your Majesty," they said, "the prince, your son, did not tell you the truth. We did catch the whale, but the prince was sorry for him. He let him go." "What?" said the king. He was very angry now. "My son caught the whale, but he did not bring him to me. He is not my son, and I am not his father. Find him, and kill him. My son is now my enemy." The 2 soldiers were sorry now. They liked the prince. They did not want to kill him. They went to him and said, "The king is very angry and he wants to kill you. Come with us. We will take you far away from the palace, and there we will let you go. We will come back to the king and we will tell him that you are dead." The prince was very sad when he heard this. He did not want to die. So he went with the soldiers far away from the palace. Then they said goodbye to him and let him go. Now the poor prince had no home and no father. "What can I do?" he thought. "I must travel through the world alone." Part 2. The prince began to walk along the road. Suddenly, an antelope ran in front of him. "Oh, sir, please help me," said the antelope. "The hunters are chasing me. They are going to kill me." The prince was sorry for the antelope. "Come here," he said, "and put your head down." the antelope came close to the prince and put his head down. The prince took one of his horns and held it. Soon the hunters ran up. "That's our antelope," they said. "Give it to us." "No," said the prince. "This antelope is mine. I chased him and caught him myself." But there was another antelope, bigger and faster than this one. He ran that way, down the hill. "Run fast and you will catch him." So the hunters ran away down the hill. The antelope was very happy. "You saved my life," he said. "And one day, I will save yours. When you need me, call me, and I will come and help you." "I will remember that," said the prince, and he went on down the road. Suddenly, a little mouse ran across the path in front of him. "Oh please, sir," said the mouse. "Some boys are chasing me. They want to catch me and kill me. Please save me." At once, the prince took off his cloak, and threw it over the mouse. Then he sat down beside it. Soon, the boys arrived. "What are you doing?" the prince asked them. "We're hunting a mouse," answered the boys. "Have you seen it?" "Yes," said the prince. "I saw a mouse. It ran into a hole in the ground. You will never find it now." The boys went away, and the prince picked his cloak up off the ground. The little mouse thanked him again and again. "You saved me," she said. "You saved my life. I am very grateful. One day, you will need me. Call to me then, and I will help you." The prince smiled. "How can a little animal like a mouse help a man like me?" he thought, but he thanked the mouse, and walked on, down the road. For many days the prince traveled on, over high mountains, through deep valleys, and across fast rivers. At last one evening, he was very tired, and very hungry. "Where will I sleep tonight?" he thought. He looked up, and saw, far away, a beautiful, big house. It was shining like gold in the last light of the evening sun. Quickly, the prince ran towards the house. "What kind of house is this?" he thought. "It is made of gold." He put out his hand and touched the wall. It was hard and cold. It was made of pure gold. The door opened and the guard came out. "Who are you?" said the guard. "What do you want?" "I'm a poor man," said the prince. "I'm tired and hungry. I need a bed for the night, and something to eat." "Who lives here, in this beautiful house? Will they let me come in?" "Ah, my poor friend," said the guard. "You must be very careful. The owner of this house, my mistress, is a sorceress. She is very beautiful, but she is cruel. Many men fall in love with her. They want to marry her. She gives them a test. She sends them away to hide, then she looks for them. If I cannot find you, I will marry you, she says, but if I find you, you must die." "And does she find the men?" asked the prince. "Always," said the guard. "Many men have died. Look, here are their bones." The prince looked inside the gate, and saw the bones of the dead men. "Tell me more about your mistress," he said to the guard. "Is she really very beautiful?" "Very, very beautiful," said the guard. "She is the most beautiful woman in the world." "Then I will take the test," said the prince. "I will hide, and if she finds me, I will die. But if she does not, I will marry her and be happy." The guard was sorry for him. "Don't do it, sir," he said. "I told you. My mistress always wins, but the prince did not listen to him. Take me to her, he said. Part 3. The sorceress sat in a golden room on a golden chair. She was the most beautiful woman in the world. At once, the prince fell in love with her. Marry me, he said. The sorceress looked at him. He was handsome, and good, and wise. She liked him. I want to marry you, she said, but first you must break my evil magic. Hide yourself. Come back after 4 days. If I cannot find you, I will marry you. But if I find you, you must die. The prince agreed. You will not find me, he said. The next morning, very early, the prince left the golden house and went down to the sea. He stood at the edge of the water and called to the king of the seas. At once, the whale came. The sorceress wants to kill me, said the prince. Hide me, or I will die. The whale opened his great mouth, and the prince jumped into it. The whale swallowed him, and the prince went down into the whale's stomach. For 3 days and nights, the sorceress hunted for the prince. She ran through the mountains. She searched the valleys. At last, on the 4th day, she picked up her magic telescope. I'll find him now, she thought. She looked, and at last she saw him. There he is, she said. He is hiding in the whale's stomach. At the end of the day, the whale swam back to the edge of the sea. He opened his mouth, and the prince walked out of it, onto the land. Then he returned to the golden house. Here I am, he said to the sorceress. You did not find me, and now you must marry me. But I did find you, said the sorceress. I hunted for 3 days and 3 nights, in the mountains and the valleys. You were not there. Then I looked through my magic telescope, and I saw you, in the whale's stomach. The prince was very sad. So I will die, he said. Not yet, said the sorceress. You hid yourself well, and I will give you another chance. Go and hide again. At once the prince ran back along the road. Antelope, he called out. Where are you? Come to me. I need you now. The antelope heard him. He ran quickly to the prince. Please hide me, the prince said to him, or the sorceress will kill me. The antelope took the prince into the high mountains, and he hid him in a cave. She will never find me here, thought the prince. For 3 days and nights, the sorceress hunted for the prince. She ran through the deserts. She searched the forests. At last, on the 4th day, she picked up her magic telescope. There he is, she said. In the antelope's cave. At the end of the day, the prince came out of the cave and returned to the golden house. Here I am, he said to the sorceress. Where was I? Did you find me? If not, you must marry me. Yes, I did find you, said the sorceress. I hunted for 3 days and 3 nights, in the deserts and the forests. You were not there. Then I looked through my magic telescope and I saw you, in the antelope's cave. The prince was very sad. You must kill me now, he said. The sorceress looked at the prince. He was very handsome. I will not kill you yet, she said. Your hiding place was a good one. You nearly won. I will give you one more chance. Go and hide again. The prince hurried away from the golden house. Mouse, he called out. Where are you? Come and help me. The mouse heard him. She ran quickly to the prince. You must hide me, said the prince, "or the sorceress will kill me." So the mouse took the prince to a great hole in the ground. The prince followed her for a long way, down into the earth. At last, they came to the palace of the king of the jinns. "Hide here, under the king's throne," said the mouse, so the prince hid under the throne of the king of the jinns. He stayed there for 3 days and 3 nights. The sorceress hunted for the prince through the whole world, in the seas, and the islands, the forests, the deserts, the mountains, and the valleys. She looked through her magic telescope again and again, but she couldn't find him anywhere. At the end of the 4th day, the mouse came back to the prince. She took him out of the palace of the jinns. The prince followed her up through the earth and out into the world. Then he returned to the golden house. The sorceress was waiting for him. "I hunted everywhere for you," she said, "in the forests and deserts, the mountains, the valleys, the sea, and the islands, and I could not find you. Now my evil magic is broken, and I will marry you." So the prince married the sorceress. She never used her evil magic again, and they lived happily in the golden house for many. This is a story about an emperor. He loved new clothes, and he had different clothes for every hour of the day. One day 2 men visited him. They liked money, but they did not want to work for it. "We can make wonderful cloth," they said. "It's very beautiful cloth, so only clever people can see it." "I like it," the emperor thought. "Make this cloth, then make me some clothes," he said to the men. "Some people won't see them, but they're stupid people." He gave a lot of money to the 2 men. Every day the men asked the king for more money. "We're working hard," they said. But they did not make any cloth. The emperor waited and waited. He wanted his new cloth, but he did not want to visit the 2 men. And he was afraid. "Perhaps I won't see the cloth," he thought. "Then everybody will know that I'm not a clever man." He called a servant. "Go and look at the new cloth. Ask them, when will it be ready?" The servant went to the men's house, but what did he see? Nothing. There was no cloth. "What are they doing?" the servant thought. "Come nearer," one of the men said. "Do you like our cloth? Isn't it beautiful?" The servant looked and looked, but he saw nothing. "I don't understand," he thought. "Am I stupid? I can't tell anybody about this." He spoke to the men. "Oh, it's very good," he said. "The cloth is beautiful. I'll tell the emperor." The emperor waited for 2 more weeks, then he called another servant. "When will the cloth be ready?" he cried. "Find those 2 men. Ask them." This servant went to the 2 men. They showed him the cloth, but he couldn't see anything. "Isn't the cloth beautiful?" one of the bad men said. The other servant liked it. The man thought, "I can't see the cloth. I'm stupid. But I don't want anybody to know." He went back to the emperor and said, "The cloth is wonderful." After 2 or 3 days, the people in the city started to talk about the beautiful cloth. "It's very beautiful, but stupid people can't see it," they said. Now the emperor really wanted to see the cloth. He took his servants with him and went to the men's house. "Isn't the cloth beautiful?" said the 2 men. "Please look at it. Isn't it pretty? Touch it." And they put out their hands and showed him. "I can see nothing," the emperor thought. "This is very, very bad. Am I stupid? A stupid man can't be emperor. He looked at the men's hands and said to his servants, "Oh, the cloth is beautiful. I like it." The servants looked and looked, but they saw nothing. Beautiful, lovely, very pretty, they said. The men will make some clothes from this cloth now. The emperor happily gave the two men more money. That night the two men did not go to bed. There were lights in every room in the house. The emperor and his people were working, they thought. Next morning, they went to the palace. "The emperor's new clothes are ready," they cried. The emperor went to their house with his servants. The two bad men put out their arms. "Here are your clothes," the men said. "Put them on." "Yes, yes," said the servants. But they could not see the clothes. The emperor took off his old shirt and trousers. The two men walked round him and touched his arms and legs. "We can't see any clothes," the servants thought. But they said nothing. "You look wonderful in your new clothes," everybody cried. "They are clothes for an emperor. I am ready now. I will walk through the streets," the emperor said. He looked at his arms and legs. "These new clothes feel very good. They aren't too big or too small." He walked through the streets with his servants and the great men of the country. People stood outside their houses or looked out of the windows. "Oh, our emperor's new clothes are very beautiful," they cried. But they thought, "We can't see any clothes. Are we stupid?" Then a little child spoke. "The emperor has no clothes." "Be quiet," his father said. But it was too late. "The emperor has no clothes," a man near the child repeated to the woman next to him. She told her friend, "The emperor has no clothes, the emperor has no clothes," the people cried. And they started to laugh. The emperor was angry. "The people are right," he thought. "But I have to walk through the streets." He walked and walked. His servants and great men followed him, but they knew, too. The emperor had no clothes.